Yes, good morning, and you are welcome to a fresh edition of our program, your program. We're talking about no other program than Summit. You are welcome. My name is Banji Busari. Of course, as you are familiar with, on each edition of the program, we discuss current national and very trending issues. Today is not going to be different. We are looking at a national issue. And I'm not going to do that alone. I have somebody who is well informed, and he's actually involved too in the developments that are actually occurring in our country. You are welcome. My name is Banji Busari once again. With me in the studio to discuss this national issue, this very, very, very topical issue, is no other person than our friend, our partner, somebody who I can call a stakeholder in Summit. It's a public affairs analyst, and somebody I call a civil rights advocate. I'm talking about no other person than Mr. Razak Olukoba. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
So we thank God for everything.
Thank you very much.
And thank God for our being alive too. So as I said, it's a national issue. The administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is just about spending 1 year, that's 12 months in office. Some people are waiting, like the Nobel laureate is saying that he will not comment about the administration until a year has passed by. But Nigerians are groaning under serious hardship, particularly the food crisis that Nigerians are actually going through. Inflation has gone through the roof, over 35% inflation, hitting food prices across. Nigerians no longer have access to their normal staple food, rice, beans, gari, elubo, and all of that. So government has chosen to do a very, very significant intervention called palliatives. This palliative has happened at the federal, state, and the local government. And you see rice, people dishing out rice to Nigerians to actually ameliorate the problems of hunger that Nigerians are witnessing. So first and foremost, we've not been, the issue of palliative is not so much common with us in this part of the world. Now, how did we get here? Maybe to start with, or what's your reaction to this intervention of palliatives?
Well, thank you very much. As much as it is strange to us, it's also strange to the rest of the world too. And in the evolution of public administration, I'm saying this as a public administrator and a chartered public administrator, as a matter of fact. The ecology of public administration explains to us that new challenges are emerging for government. One of which, as recognized by the United Nations, is intervention of this nature. That the situation in the world is explained to us clearly that there's an economic trauma, COVID-19, and many peculiar challenges that has to do with each countries of the world, our own maybe answers and all of that. And so, the United Nations encourages the rest of the world to intervene economically in the lives of people, because direct distribution of food to people is a special initiative. It's a special department in governance that is not common. So it's just a gradual integration into the responsibility of government. So as it is to us, so it is to the rest of the world too. So it's normal for us what we are doing. We are following the trend of what the dictate of the world. Wartime, intervention, and all sorts of things can be called other name. So the importance of palliative at this moment can be explained in so many ways. One is that public anger has a very dangerous pattern. And we have to prepare and prevent it from happening. One of the shortest way that people get angry might not be student school fees, might not be bad roads, might not be electricity, but hunger is a mobilizer for an uprising. So, and one of the ingredients of violent protest has been recognized to be anger. So it becomes very, very important for any serious government that wants or appreciate peace to pay sufficient attention to palliatives at the moment we find ourselves. The general mass of the people, the citizens, are not responsible for what we are going through. But because we are careless enough not to caution previous government and administration, it becomes the responsibility of all of us if we want to get out of it. And what are those responsibilities? To supervise your government. The federal government appears committed to palliatives, but other layers of government, say and except some states like Lagos, Borno, and other states, up to about 20 states have and demonstrated nonchalant attitude until people became assertive that it came to our knowledge that there were specific funds meant for palliatives. Those monies were not meant to construct roads. Those money were not meant for scholarship. It's specifically meant for intervention on how people can survive on a daily basis. So that's when you begin to see increase in numbers of state government that are taking part in it. And when the president himself had to speak out, that we know very well that subsidy has contributed largely to the economic pain in the country at the moment. But the proceeds from it is distributed evenly between the federal, the state, and the local government. It's not meant for the state coffers. It's meant to cushion the effect of this one. So people start holding their governors responsible for not doing the needful. So what I'm saying in essence is that federal government has created an institution to address issues like this. Citizens must also compel state to integrate it. Look at the model in Borno, and others look at the model in state. Lagos state government has created and put in place food hub, where food. So that's an institution already that is taking care of that. We want it to be replicated in other states. If that is done, it means we are serious. That's in the immediate. But at the long run, every state must be compelled by the federal government to pay attention to agriculture. Okay. There is no part of this country that must not be responsible for producing one food item or the other, either yam, beans, rice, or whatever. And the strategic location we find ourselves in Nigeria, there's no business we have with poverty. Okay, from Cameroon. Let me quickly say this. Clean water became a nuisance to us every year. Whereas it's supposed to be an asset. It's supposed to be an agricultural asset. These are clean water. You must admonish all the governors that turn this setback, this victory into setback for us. But it's actually victory. These are clean water that are supposed to be dammed as it passed through to all the states.
All right.
That was what Gaddafi did.
Okay, before we actually proceed, there's no doubt about the the good intention of the government to have done this intervention, as I've come up with this intervention, and like you say, it's done globally. Now let's look at the modalities for actually bringing it to the people, making sure that it reaches the target, the downtrodden, the vulnerables, those who actually are the lowest rung of the ladder, for whom the palliative is meant. Now, the palliatives are channeled to the state governments. And that's one of the issues that are being questioned, that are being interrogated. The same government, state governments that are in charge of monthly allocation are still the same ones that are also in possession of the palliatives. So how do we distinguish between what the governor is or the government, state government are directly responsible for, or the ones that they are being assisted to do for the sake of bringing succor to the people? What do you say about the sincerity of the whole process?
Well, thank you very much. We have to quickly admit that before we go further, that, which has also reflected in my earlier statement, that many of the governors didn't do well. Many of them didn't do well at all. Even if there's no specific funds meant for palliatives, this is the time when you have to scale down all other departments, the work of other departments, to be able to address the immediate challenge of the people. This is the period. More so, there were funds that was meant for it. So as usual, governors do the usual. What most of them do is to convert it to dollar and start living large after office. So it's not a good thing. The method we have to adopt in the immediate is to employ all conventional and unconventional means. We have to put it through institutions. In Lagos, we have something similar, like civic engagement. This are the kind of intention they do. The Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. There are similar ministry agencies like that in other states. So what are they doing? That's the conventional method. The unconventional method by the churches, through mosque, through social gatherings like basketball, football association, neighborhood, community leaders, traditional rulers. These are unconventional. We must reach out to the poor by any means necessary. That's in the short run. But in the long run, we come back to the issue of how our country is structured. And there's a mistake by the people at all time. They don't seem to understand the reason why this structure is not working. As a political scientist, there's what is called political culture, which defines who you are as a people. And it is on that basis that you put your institution in place. A country that has multi-dimensional ethnic content like Nigeria cannot run the kind of structure we run in Nigeria. It can't work. We have something similar with the British. The British can't run this kind of system. And that is why you see the Queen of England. It's Queen of England, it's not the Queen of United Nations, Queen of Britain. So there's a semblance of the independence for other ethnic groups. A Nigerian situation is a case where we are encouraged to have one leadership that we're going to place our trust on. It does not work from 1979 to 1985. It didn't work from 1999 to late, which means there must be devolution of power. If you devolve power, which I'm coming to the question of the long run. The long run is that you have to create a database. The database we created now is faulty because each governors.
Are you aware of the humongous amount allocated to securing the authentic database for the palliatives? What significance?
When you have when your car is bad, you can't be sending your driver to training school. You repair the car. When you have an institution that has a challenge, you have to address the institution. You can't be placating the institution by running it through proxy or running it through committees. It's a committee approach to solution. By thinking that once you do population census, the governors of each state, which is natural, will submit the list of people in their own state, having at the back of their mind that the allocation is going to be distributed based on the population census and the number of who you are in your state. There is no state in this country that will not add to the number of their people. That is dead on arrival when it comes to national database. But when there's a structure where there's a devolution of power, where your responsibility to the center what gives them, is based on the number of people in your state. People would declare the number of their people. So the national database they are going to send to it will be accurate. So, and that is how distribution of such materials like this can be successful. At the moment, because each state has submitted fictitious names, anytime any federal ministry of agency or agency wants to tap into the national database based on what the state has submitted, it's 50% fictitious, it's 50% truth. So at times, it's not the fault of those federal agencies. It's the fault of our system. Our system has laid a template for fraud. Because I am a state, I know what I give to the center in terms of.
But these jobs were allocated to private entities, private companies. And monies were allocated to it. Were they supposed to take information from the state governments or do an independent survey of the real people that are the vulnerables?
You can't line 6 million people in a state up for palliatives. You must rely on the data. You must rely on an institution. The way state will work, the way country will work.
So the question is, was the money allocated to sourcing the data, was it well spent?
No.
Or did it get us the results?
What I'm saying is that the allocation of money to repair something wrong that was not wrong with your vehicle. So it means that the blame is not to the institution that has failed. The organization that has failed. It's not. You should know that it was because government effort failed. That was why they contracted to private institutions. Whereas what was wrong with us was not the personnel. It was the structure. The personnel relied on what was handed over to it. So the data that was put in place, the national database consists of what the state brought, agencies like immigration, go and do your passport there, agencies like the CBN, they collect data from various banks, they submit it to national database. National database will then harmonize it and send each state its citizens to them. The state will harmonize it, do it again, send it back to national database. For harmonization, it's a continuous process. But it is failing because the state, where is also the primary source of the database, cannot and will never submit the accurate figure to you as long as what they get from federal government depends on the number of the people they have in their state. It's natural. So it's an acceptable crime for us in Nigeria for a state to say I am 5 million, but because I put in so much in the pocket of federal government, and if it is used to determine the number of my population, I'll be shortchanged. To that extent, I must add to the number of people. So if you want to have a proper, once you have credible personnel and you give them a wrong structure, they become compromised. So the way to do it, it kept propping up. This challenge kept propping up, and we have to address once and for all. The method we have to address now, we have said it, that use all sort of method, at least to pass this stage. When we pass this stage, we have to then confront our president that the previous president has...
Before we confront our president, you spoke about conventional and unconventional approaches to these palliatives to make it work. Let's look at the model in Borno State, for instance. You see the governor himself come out, and people are applauding him that the palliatives are actually getting to where they're supposed to get.
I've mentioned Borno.
So is it not an approach that other states must or may really need to actually adopt to ensure that this thing gets to us? Because what we have seen is that you need to become a member, you have to become a member of a political party.
Which is wrong.
Or member of a ruling class.
Which is wrong. Or an influential elite.
Or an influential elite before you get this. And as a matter of fact, the vulnerables are not really...
As rickety as it is.
So how do we adopt that? How do we actually ensure that approach cuts across?
That's what I'm saying, that to get out of this is a shared responsibility. You have this information as citizens. You can't turn it to romanticism. You have to confront your governors.
Confront governors.
Yeah, confront the governors.
I'll come to that. Confront governors.
Yes, we have done that. And I have done that.
Can you even confront the local government chairman?
No, we have done that in the recent months. In the few months, we have done that. We have made noise in social media. We have made on program of this nature. This is part of confrontation, and this gets to the hearing of the president, and the president had to be confrontational with the governor as well. That I heard that some of you are not doing the needful. So what I'm saying in essence is that when I say confrontation, it's not the street protest confrontation I'm talking about. This particular platform should be happening in virtually all the TV stations. We have to be talking about governors that are not doing so. The governor of my state in corner is not doing enough. I'm not from Lagos, but I enjoy palliative in Lagos. So also millions of people who live in Lagos also enjoy palliatives. And the governor is also doing more. The coupon...
Are you aware that the voices of the people that are the target, I mean the people for whom the palliatives are meant, their voices are so weak that they can't even confront the governor?
No, if you are not organized, because the power of the powerless is organization, is to be organized. The power of the powerless is to be organized.
When you have told me severally on this program that people have been so much impoverished that they even lack the courage to actually speak. So how do they organize themselves?
The moment we say that the people are weak, it's enough inspiration for them. So we are weak, we have to rise. That's an inspiration. That's how to move your people. When you tell people that this country can never prosper with the state of mind we have as a people, that this should not be our state of mind. We do not have any business with poverty, particularly the endemic poverty that is going on in the north. There are so many things in the north that the citizens of the north must rise up to. They can't become a superpower in a short time. So this is confrontation. I'm not talking about the street protest. As long as we adopt a mode that A to Z of moving the country forward is about the people in government, we are getting it wrong. We must learn to respond to policy issues. Excuse me. The president has made it clear. He was transparent about things that are going to the local government, that are going to the state government. And we have to pick it up from there.
People became so frustrated that they had to boggle the warehouses to lift these palliatives.
You know, that's what I said. That was what I said. Boggle it.
So, because there's almost hope. I mean, there's almost no hope.
That is the danger of not doing anything. That's the danger of not doing anything. If you don't do anything, that's the danger. The people will rise. And we cannot avoid anarchy with what is going on in the country. But that's the picture we are seeing if nothing is done. And that is the summation of United Nations, that when you get to this point, you don't have to wait for things to fall in place for people's life to get better. There must be need for people to reach out as a matter of intervention and palliative for people. So we are in line. What needs to be done is what I say. In the immediate, we have to adopt all convention. At least when we want to vote, governors of all these states know how to reach voters. So it is not an excuse to say that because of a database we can't reach them. You can't reach them. What we are saying is that a smooth running exercise for it to be done, our database must be intact. But at the moment, there is no governor in any state in Nigeria that must not be blamed if he didn't roll out intervention program.
The intervention, the palliative is supposed to be a temporary measure. As we round off this discussion, can you actually project how long this can actually go to make sure that Nigerians are a bit, at least, comfortable and they do not go into perpetual hunger? How long do you think this can go?
Well, I'm happy that you are gradually agreeing with me. The first time I told you that we are passing through a gestation period, and these orders are expected, that it might likely take 2 years before we're smoothing things out. You were a bit angry with me that day. Now, we are going back to what I've said, that there's a time frame for what we are going through. If you look at the dollar rate now, the dollar rate is gradually weakening. and the dollar is weakening, and
Naira is strong, getting stronger.
Having strength. Dangote refinery is beginning to work. This is coming down. It will start petrol very soon, and our economic base is beginning to be strengthened. The guys are there, knows what they are doing, but there's a caveat that we must quickly add that as much as it looks as if the government is getting a grip of the situation, the danger is to conclude that we can achieve anything with this political structure. The kind of people we are, the political culture, the peculiarity we have as a nation, dictate to us that we don't trust each other, and that's normal. That's fine. Countries that don't trust each other can live together. There's an example in India. There's an example in Britain and all over the world. So for people who have this kind of challenges, the way our people is configured, where we are coerced together, the structure must allow for people to decide the kind of life they want to live. We have shown it clearly that we don't want our life to be run by proxy. Running our life by proxy is to give the kind of power we have to the president, to him again, where you decide for state, where states, in the name of trying to merge one state together, the federal government carelessly run federal roads into farm settlements, and that's what has happened all over the country with the power of the federal government. Whereas collaboration can happen between two states to do that. So what in my conclusion, there's a grip of the situation by Tinubu, but that grip might be temporary if it did not address the political challenges that the structure of this country is going through or has.
I'm sure that you are already going to constitutional issues again, which may not happen immediately. It's not something that can be achieved maybe in the life of any administration, unless the subsequent administration is also key into the constitutional reforms and all of that. I've been speaking with Mr. Razak Olukoba, a development advocate and a civil rights advocate, so public affairs analyst. We've been discussing palliatives, how sustainable it is in this country, and then how long does this have to actually go? Are people actually getting it even as the government is dishing out? How sincere? We're looking at the level of sincerity of this palliative. So much has actually been said by my guest today on the program. It's an ongoing discussion. I believe that in the future we'll still continue to discuss this.
Thank you for having me.
But I need to sincerely thank you for your time, your patience, your understanding, and the knowledge you have dished out today to the benefit of Nigerians. Thank you so much, sir, Mr.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you.
So that's our package today on Summit. Of course, you know that before we go, we have the second leg of the program, which is about the focus on Lagos State. What is Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu doing to elevate the quality of life of Lagosians or the residents of Lagos? What infrastructural, what developmental projects are actually happening? So much of this are reflected on the program. Today, again, we are looking at something new in the life of this administration of Babajide Sanwo-Olu. That's our package. My name is Banji Busari. See you again next week. Bye-bye.